Your brand should complement your lifestyle. Whatever your brand is should go hand in hand in the way you live your life. You know what I'm saying? Whatever your brand is should be a representation of how you live your life. Like, for example, my brand is blossoming. Why is my brand blossoming? My brand is blossoming because everything can blossom. And the thing is, the things that can't blossom still help other things blossom. That's my brand, blossoming. Your brand should tell a story. My story within my blossoming is I can tell a story. I can tell a story. I can tell the story about how I blossomed through life. I can tell a story about how I went through this tough time and how I blossomed through it. I can tell a story about how I blossomed through pain and I turn it into beauty, power, and purpose. I used to have something called a blooming space when I was in college, and I had a segment. It was called Turning Your Pain into Beauty, Power, and Purpose. And all that correlates into blossoming. All that is blossoming. How to turn your pain to beauty, power, and purpose. My brand is blossoming. How you can blossom through certain things to become the greatest version of yourself. You need to make your brand your story. When you talk about building your own brand, when you talk about mastering your own brand, that comes with self-work. That comes with integrity. You have to have some self-work and some integrity about yourself when you are building your own brand. When you are mastering your brand, you should have some integrity and some self-work about yourself. Because if you want people to trust in what you got going on, or even what you have to sell or say, you have to have some integrity about yourself. This all ties into your brand. Like I said, me blossoming is bigger than me. It's bigger than me. My brand of blossoming is bigger than me. It has something to do with me serving God as well. Like I said, God placed his purpose and promise on my life and my brand. And that came with a lot of self-work, integrity, and some healing. It did. So when you are building your brand, when you are wrapping the package, you know, people like to open beautiful things. Your presentation means a lot as well. Because it's just like, okay, like the presentation is nice. Have you ever had food? The presentation was beautiful, but the food was disgusting. That happened to me yesterday. The presentation was beautiful. The food was disgusting. But do you know how much they sold that food for the presentation? Between me and my dad, we both went. It was about $100. The food was probably worth like $5, to be honest. But this is all about building your brand. Because people could go to that restaurant and say, the presentation was beautiful, but what, like, the ingredients and how they seasoned it, it was a fail. You don't want people to say that about your brand. You don't want people to describe your brand as being a fail. And that's why I say you have to do the inner work. You have to do the seasonings. You have to put the seasonings on, bro. Lord, thank you for that. You have to put the seasonings on yourself so you can better build your brand. You know what I'm saying? That's where the inner work comes to play. You got to do that seasoning, do that inner work so you can better master and build your own brand. You want people to listen to you. You want people to trust. You want people to trust your food. You got to get better with that seasoning. You got to get better with that inner work. You got to get better with that integrity. Because you over here selling $100 food, but it's worth $5. Now, and then it's kind of scammy. It's kind of giving scam. So when you're building and mastering your own brand, you really want to do that integrity work. And like I said, your brand should tell a beautiful story. And I'm not saying your story should be always beautiful, because my story is a beautiful mess. But even a lot of messes are still beautiful in the eye of the beholder. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this is very important. This is a very important message, because when you're building your brand, It comes with mastering yourself. It comes with mastering yourself. You have to learn to do the inner work, do that integrity, so you can better master yourself. And so you can have a beautiful brand. So people can trust your words, so people can trust what you're saying. That's why when people be like, oh, she a blossom. Oh, she be blossoming. And dude, that when the whole blossoming came about, when it chose me, and this how I knew it was God, because God told me, you have no choice but to blossom. You have no choice but to blossom. You can't do nothing but blossom. You can't even backtrack, shawty, because you blossom. I gave this to you so you can blossom, so you have no choice but to blossom through this life. You have no choice but to have some integrity. You can't be a blossom and be fraudulent. You just can't. You can't be a blossom and not do the inner work. You can't be a flower and not endure some rain. The fuck? You can't be a flower and not endure some storms. The fuck? This is why, like I said, when you're mastering your brand, you have to do that inner work. When you are selling the food that you're trying to sell, make sure you season it with some love and care and some integrity. This is your brand. When people leave them when I leave this review about where I ate at yesterday, I'm gonna say the presentation was amazing, but the food was horrible. The food was distasteful. The presentation looked like it was so tasteful. Oh my gosh. The food was distasteful. So when I write my review, I'm gonna say y'all dead motherfucking wrong. Y'all is wrong. And that's not how you want people to view your brand. That's why you gotta be about it. You can't sell people short. When people are paying their money, they're expecting to get what they pay for. Rather that be the message, rather that be the food,
speed limit camera ahead,
rather that be all that. And I know that people are going through their journey when it comes to their brand and, you know, selling what they think they're trying to sell the money. Like, okay, because I'm trying to focus and drive. Like, never do this. But people are trying to sell their worth. So, for example, this message right here, like if somebody was to do a course or a seminar, and maybe they want to sell this exact message that I'm telling y'all for $1,000, and rightfully so. If they feel like if it's worth that, then it's worth that. But the thing is, it's more so how you say it, how you deliver it. So somebody could say the same exact message I'm telling y'all, and it could be delivered way worse, or it could be delivered so much better. So people will be like, okay, I'm gonna pay $1,000 for this course so I can figure out how to master my brand. You know what I'm saying? It's very important. I get wanting to charge people your worth. I get that. But if you're charging people what you think is your worth, but you're under delivering, that's an issue. So make sure if you're going to charge people a certain amount that you're delivering. Don't be out here scamming and all that stuff, because that's not integral. That's not right. That's not okay. So I encourage you to continue to build your brand, to continue to do the inner work, to continue to have integrity, to continue to keep your word. When you're building your brand, I encourage you to wrap the package, but as you're wrapping the package, make sure that inside the package is everything that you're promising. Is everything that you're promising within the package. You know what I'm saying? Be integral. This is your brand. This is a representation of you. This is a really big reflection of you. Your brand is a huge reflection of you. So that's why, thank God Blossoming chose me. Because I probably wouldn't even have been blossoming this far. But because it chose me, I gotta show up. You know what I'm saying? I gotta show up for my brand. I gotta show up for those that's watching and you know, taking my word into consideration, great consideration. So I don't play with people's time. So make sure while you're doing your brand that you have some integrity about it and you do things the right way. Because let me tell you something also. You gotta do right by people within your brand. Because you reap what you sow. And then a lot of times when we reap what we sow double fold. So be careful about how you treat people in regards to your brand. Have integrity. Wrap the package. Have integrity. Deliver what you wrapping in that package. So that's all I want to say to y'all. Your brand is a reflection of you. So have some integrity about you. Have some seasoning about you. Don't just sell the food and you know it's distasteful. So that's all I want to say to y'all. I really should continue to focus on the road. But I appreciate y'all for listening and trusting me to give y'all some insight. So thank y'all. And that's all I want to say. And blossom out.